Sara, Woman in the Shadows opens with a haunting sequence scored to Bonnie Tyler's Total Eclipse of the Heart, immediately establishing the melancholic tone that permeates this gripping Italian thriller. The debut episode wastes no time plunging viewers into a world of espionage, personal tragedy, and moral ambiguity as we meet Sara Marazzi, a retired intelligence operative whose carefully constructed solitude is shattered by news of her estranged son's death. What begins as a seemingly straightforward traffic accident investigation quickly unravels into a complex web of deception, jealousy, and potential murder that will force Sara to confront both professional and personal demons. The episode begins with Sara receiving a devastating phone call from de Blasio, a former special ops colleague, informing her that her son Giorgio Alberti has died. The scene shifts to the sterile environment of Cardarelli Hospital's autopsy room, where Sara must identify her son's body. The clinical coldness of this setting heightens the emotional weight of the moment, especially when we learn that Sara has been estranged from Giorgio for many years. When a morgue attendant remarks that he must give Giorgio's belongings to forensics as procedure, de Blasio pointedly notes, "She knows how it works. She's a colleague." This subtle revelation is our first hint of Sara's background in law enforcement or intelligence work. Sara meets with Officers Silvani and Fregoli, who explain that Giorgio was hit by a car while walking his dog near his apartment. According to their account, the driver, Ludovico Terzani, claims he didn't have time to brake when Giorgio crossed the street. In a particularly poignant detail, they mention that Terzani, devastated by what happened, held Giorgio's hand in the ambulance as he died. This seemingly compassionate gesture will take on sinister implications as the episode progresses. The officers also reveal something Sara didn't know. Giorgio had a girlfriend named Viola who is 8 months pregnant, adding another layer of tragedy to his untimely death. Determined to understand what happened, Sara seeks out Terzani at the hospital. Their conversation reveals crucial details that change the entire narrative. Terzani claims that when he spotted Giorgio in the road, he slowed down and flashed his lights. Giorgio initially stopped but then dropped the dog's leash and jumped in the road. This statement subtly shifts the incident from accident to possible suicide, raising the first major question of the series. Did Giorgio intentionally take his own life? The episode explores Sara's complex past through carefully placed flashbacks. We learn she abandoned Giorgio when he was 7 years old, leaving him with his father Gennaro. In one haunting scene, young Giorgio asks, "Daddy, where's mommy going?" as Sara drives away. This abandonment created a deep rift that was never healed, with Giorgio telling people his mother had died years ago. When Sara visits Viola, Giorgio's girlfriend, she confronts this painful history directly, asking Sara, "How could you abandon your child? Just like that. He was 7. Sara's professional background gradually comes into focus as she reconnects with former colleagues. We discover she was a highly skilled operative with the exceptional ability to read lips, a talent that proves useful throughout the episode as she eavesdrops on conversations from a distance. A colleague describes her as someone who, without microphones or even headphones, with fucking nothing, just by looking at a guy's lips, could tell what he was saying word for word. This skill positions Sara as a formidable investigator despite her years away from active service. The investigation takes a significant turn when Sara visits Naples Biochemical, where Giorgio worked. His boss Andrea is visibly uncomfortable with her questions, particularly regarding something called LP that Giorgio was involved with. Through Sara's lip-reading abilities, we learn that Andrea is speaking with a Colonel Prati at a military base, mentioning encrypted files that Giorgio had collected before his death. This establishes a connection between Giorgio's work and potentially classified military operations, suggesting his death might be related to something he discovered. Sara's suspicions deepen when she learns that Giorgio regularly visited a former NATO base in Proto, but on the day he died, he went to Lago Patria, the new military base, instead. This deviation from routine signals something significant happened that day. To investigate further, Sara reconnects with her former colleague Teresa, whom she calls Brownie, convincing her to retrieve data from Giorgio's phone. Their conversation reveals they once worked together in intelligence operations, with Teresa noting that things have changed. "They gave us this American software that cross-checks data and alerts us to anyone suspicious." The technological advancement hints at the evolution of surveillance since Sara's retirement. In one of the episode's most tense sequences, Sara infiltrates the Lego Patria military base disguised as cleaning staff. When an alarm sounds, she uses the distraction to access Colonel Silvia Prati's office. This daring move demonstrates Sara's continued proficiency in espionage despite her years away from the field. The infiltration pays off when she discovers a photograph that connects Colonel Prati to Giorgio, suggesting a relationship beyond professional boundaries. Following this lead, Sara tracks down Colonel Prati's apartment using keys found among Giorgio's possessions. There, she makes the episode's most shocking discovery. Silvia Prati was having an affair with Giorgio. Silvia reveals she is terminally ill with cancer, and that Giorgio had recently reconnected with her after learning about her diagnosis. He said he'd rented this apartment and that he'd wait for me here, Silvia explains, adding that she refused to be with him because he was about to become a father, and she didn't want to ask him to give his whole life up given her uncertain future. The revelation takes a sinister turn when Silvia mentions her doctor Ludovico Terzani, the same man who hit Giorgio with his car. Silvia explains that Ludovico was my rebound after Giorgio, and though their relationship was brief, he decided to stand by me anyway, after her cancer diagnosis. She describes him as suffocating at times, suggesting an obsessive personality. This connection transforms our understanding of the incident. What appeared to be a tragic accident or possible suicide now looks increasingly like a deliberate act motivated by jealousy. Ludovico, aware of Giorgio's rekindled relationship with Silvia, potentially saw an opportunity to eliminate his romantic rival when he encountered him crossing the street that night. The episode concludes with Sara processing this revelation as Total Eclipse of the Heart plays again, creating a haunting bookend to the story. The lyrics "Once upon a time I was falling in love, now I'm only falling apart" take on new meaning as they reflect not only Sara's grief, but also the tragic love triangle between Giorgio, Silvia, and Ludovico. The final shots of Sara in the rain suggest she's now fully committed to uncovering the truth behind her son's death, setting up the series' central conflict. What makes this premiere particularly effective is how it balances personal and professional motivations. Sara's investigation is driven by maternal guilt. She abandoned Giorgio once and seems determined not to fail him again, even in death. Yet her methods are decidedly professional, drawing on skills honed through years of intelligence work. This duality creates a compelling character study of a woman trying to reconcile her past failures while navigating a dangerous present. The episode also excels in establishing mysteries beyond the central question of who killed Giorgio. What classified work was he involved in at the military bases? Why did he switch locations on the day he died? Who else might have wanted him dead besides the jealous doctor? And perhaps most intriguingly, what forced Sara to abandon her son and career years ago? These questions create multiple narrative threads that promise to intertwine as the series progresses. Sara, Woman in the Shadows, distinguishes itself from standard procedurals through its focus on emotional consequences. The pain of estrangement between mother and son gives weight to Sara's investigation beyond mere professional curiosity. When Viola's mother condemns Sara for attempting to reconnect after Giorgio's death, don't you think it's kind of a bit late to get involved? It articulates the central question of whether redemption is possible after such profound abandonment. By the episode's conclusion, Sara has effectively emerged from the shadows, both literally and figuratively. She's stepped back into the world of espionage she once inhabited, and has begun to reckon with the son she left behind. The revelation about Ludovico's connection to both Giorgio and Silvia suggests that solving this case will require Sara to navigate not just matters of national security, but also the messy, emotional terrain of human relationships, territory perhaps more dangerous than any mission she undertook in her former life. As Total Eclipse of the Heart fades and thunder crashes in the background, viewers are left with the sense that Sara's return from the shadows has just begun, and the storm ahead will test every skill she possesses.